together and we send one message. Because if ActionAid sends one message, another institution says something different, we are not helping. So at least we came together, we discussed, and then we are going forward with this message. We are targeting parents, we are targeting teachers, we are targeting policymakers, and the children themselves, because it's only the children who can do something about it. Because if you don't know what marriage is about, you want to marry, you don't even know why you are getting married. Because if you ask the children, why are you getting married? Oh, I'm getting married. But do you know what it entails to be married?
All the other jobs are going because no one cares about them now. So people should so girls should continue learning. Because if the pregnancy thing and the getting married thing, they all just affect her, and she's not able to go to school. Well, how can you go to school while you're in a lesson and the baby will be crying while the teacher is explaining something? You cannot do it. You'll be breastfeeding a child in the class. It can't happen. So that's why, please, save the girl child.
I want you to understand is we have a lot of stereotype against the education of the girl child. I know parents have their fears, but it is important that you realize that, for instance, if a girl is married off, that girl will be taken care of by the husband, and then they will in turn take care of the parents. How many husbands do take care of their wives? It is about it is more advantageous to educate your girl child and let that girl child is economically get that economic independence and be able to take care of you rather than depending too much on an external factor that you are not even sure of.
Let's go for a break now. We'll be back with more stories right after.
Borom bagas andi yenen bagas jamba tonga wolof xamal yomb rek yàgg bukka jëm yow demal felewaay foo toog rek di fen pour nu foog ni yaa fi gën jëm yow demal felewaay xas nañ la xas bi léegi taxul nga am jom jëm yow demal felewaay xam nañ la boo yaa fi dax first class jëm yow demal felewaay gën yomb ba noppi den kumpa dara du la kumpa lu ñëw yow nga lumpa léegi yaa fi gën a slomba koo gis laaj ko nomba mu nelaw nga wër ko nomba fexe gasal ko tomba ndax lu ba lekk nga dàmma bak bu day ni yow mënoo jëndal sa bopp ñamba kama sa ñoom demba dem naxe ko ñoom jene ba fen ngaa fen a fen ba léegi niroo tuloo nit sar nañ la sara sar be sa xol bi wow ni xeer tiita tuloo rusa tuloo sa morom mag sa borom moo tax ndoo yi léegi ñëpp la def morom doy wax amul xorom yow mi sa foo xorom demal felewaay borom bokk toj xamalu yomb rek yàgg bugga cim yow demal felewaay foo toog rek di fen pour nu foog ne yaa fi gën cim yow demal felewaay xas nañ la xas ba léegi taxul nga am jom cim yow demal felewaay xam nañ la boo yaa fi dax first class cim yow demal felewaay amoo fooy taxaw te sax day woo ko dara ci dëkk bi nga juddoo tekki woo fi dara yaa ngi rakkaaj ni kuy fecce fara rewan deel a jàpp ba ràññee woo sama mag golo ku la mag jox ko cër bu yeboo sax ngeen tollaw àdduna boo ci nekkee fexeel nite ndax moom amul solaw jom fu la fayda am sa laada respect teel a jóg na ñokket bañ a dog di expect lu ñu teg nga jog bet fay teg jëppe yi ñu lay dóor ay kokket léegi war nga jéeñ nag ndaxte yaa ngi jëm mag jéem a lijjantil sa bopp xamalu yomb rek yàgg bugga ci yow demal felewaay foo toog rek di fen pour nu foog ne yaa fi gën ci yow demal felewaay xas nañ la xas ba léegi taxul nga am jom ci yow demal felewaay xam nañ la boo yaa fi dax first class ci yow demal felewaay war nga bàyyi ni nga nekkee suñ lay waxal dëgg ikee la ñuy ñaaw féete booy fóot bëgg mu set baaw rekk di nga fete waaye wër di pete topp nit ñi côté jaaxal na ma ni ngay tekkee ak yow ni ngay tettee ak yow ni ngay tettee every day nga crier dal sa bopp gàcce ndaxte yaram bi du jóg ci ngaña foo ne di waja yaa ngi nii pece yaa ngi nii waja big money big house big girls amoo ci why yo, Hanurek, yes boy, Hanurek.
The Republican presidential candidate Mitt Romney chastised the U.S. President Barack Obama for not doing enough to protect the American ambassador killed during a protest in the Libyan city of Benghazi. CNN's Jim Acosta tells us more about a debate that has numerous implications.
I love these debates. You know, these things are great.
In Virginia, Mitt Romney was still in a New York state of mind, still talking about his debate rematch with President Obama.
I think it's interesting that the president still doesn't have an agenda for a second term. He can't even explain what he's done in the last 4 years.
But at his first event after the debate, Romney did not touch on the night's flashpoint that got as fiery as the body language between the candidates. Just as his campaign signaled he would do during the debate, Romney seized on the deaths at the U.S. consulate in Libya. But when Romney thought he had caught the president falsely portraying his comments from the White House the day after the attack, the GOP nominee inadvertently gave Mr. Obama an opening.
You said in the Rose Garden, the day after the attack, it was an act of terror. It was not a spontaneous demonstration. Is that what you're saying?
Please proceed, Governor.
I want to make sure we get that for the record, because it took the president 14 days before he called the attack in Benghazi an act of terror.
Get the transcript.
The Obama campaign is not only pointing to what the president said in the Rose Garden.
No acts of terror will ever shake the resolve of this great nation, alter that character, or eclipse the light of the values that we stand for.
The president's aides also note his comments the following day.
No acts of terror will dim the light of the values that we proudly shine on the rest of the world.
No act of terror will go unpunished.
In the post-debate spin room, top Romney surrogates were armed with a different view.
He used the words act of terror in a general sense. But listen, for 5 days, they said just the opposite.
An argument echoed by Paul Ryan on the morning shows.
It was a passing comment about acts of terror in general. It was not a claim that this was the result of a terrorist attack.
The Romney campaign pointed to what Ambassador to the United Nations Susan Rice said 5 days after the attack, that it was a response to an anti-Islamic video that was blamed for the siege at the U.S. Embassy in Egypt.
It was a spontaneous, not a premeditated response to what had transpired in Cairo.
Then there's White House Press Secretary Jay Carney 8 days after Benghazi.
We do not have evidence that it was premeditated.
But it was Romney's remarks on his efforts to add more women to his gubernatorial staff that could have a lasting effect on the race.
I went to a number of women's groups and said, can you help us find folks? And they brought us whole binders full of women.
Perhaps sensing his campaign was suddenly in a bind, at his event in Virginia, Romney made a concerted appeal to women.
This is a presidency that has not helped America's women.
And he tweeted out this web video featuring his former female cabinet members, all backing Romney's commitment to women.
He totally gets working women.
In a sign, the Romney campaign is eager to get back into debate prep for that final and critical face-off with President Obama. Advisors have postponed a speech on fiscal responsibility that was set for Friday. No word on when that event might be rescheduled. Jim Acosta, CNN, Leesburg, Virginia.
Many people are wondering whether U.S. President Barack Obama will win next month's presidential election. Others are even talking about Obama making history, even if he loses the November 9th election. Let's find out how things are shaping up for Obama.
Time to answer the mail. James in Austria asks, if Barack Obama loses in November, will he be the youngest U.S. ex-president ever? Well, almost. Obama is 51, just a year older than Theodore Roosevelt was when he left office in 1909 at the age of 50. Roosevelt went on to go on an African safari, explore the Brazilian jungle, form his own political party, run for president again, and get his face carved on Mount Rushmore. Obama has slightly more modest plans.
In a post-presidency, the thing that I think I would enjoy most is spending time working with kids.
But what if he wins? Hirsch in India asks, wouldn't this be the first time in American history that 3 consecutive presidents have been reelected? Bill Clinton served 2 terms, so did George W. Bush. So if Obama does too, that would make 3 presidents serving 2 terms each in a 24-year time span. A rare trifecta, but not unprecedented. Well, you have to go back more than 200 years to Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, and James Monroe to find the only other consecutive trio of 2-term presidents. Either way, then, Obama will make a little history as the second youngest ex-president or as the second, third 2-term president in a row.